What's going on, guys? As many of you probably know, the Season 16 anniversary for Apex is massive this year. So, I'd like to talk briefly about the new changes we'll be seeing this season before getting into the new TDM game mode. If you'd like to see the patch notes I'm reading over, the link will be in the description below. And without further ado, let's get started. First thing I want to talk about is the weapon updates. They brought back the legendary shotgun bolt, so for those of you who are not aware, that will allow you to automatically reload rounds while sliding whether or not you have the gun equipped or stowed away. Next we have the care package rotation, where the Hemlock is now in the care package where the Rampage is now back on the floor. And for the weapon crafting rotation, the Longbow and the Volt are now in the crafter where the G7 and the Kar SMG are both back on the floor. And when it comes to the gold weapon rotation, this season we're going to be seeing the Nemesis, Rampage, PK, Wingman, and the R99 all in their gold forms this season. Next up we have the hammer point rounds that are going to be replacing the Anvil receiver this season, so that's great news for all of you who love to use pistols. Now it's time to talk about some of the actual weapons themselves. First off, the Kar SMG, it now has a reduced ammo capacity of 19 where it used to be 20. The R99 got a little bit of a buff, the damage is now 12 instead of 11. And the R301 got a little bit of a nerf, reducing the damage down to 13 where it was 14. Now let's talk a little bit about the Hemlock, which this season actually did get quite the buff. First off, the damage has increased to 23 where it was 20. It now has a headshot multiplier of 1.8 where it used to be 1.75. It has improved recoil. And because it's in the care package this season, it comes with a boosted loader, which gives it faster reloads at low ammo that'll overload the magazine with 9 extra rounds. So those of you who like the Hemlock, definitely be on the lookout for that, because it is going to be destroying people, I'm sure. Next we'll talk about the shotguns, which all got buffed this season. The Mastiff now has a little bit tighter of a spread pattern, but all shotguns across the board now have the tactical stock that improves reload speed and handling, and they all have increased projectile size at close range. So hopefully that will help improve when it comes to getting those random damage numbers like a 20 or a 7 when you're in the middle of those really clutch moments. And lastly, we have the Rampage, which is no longer in the care package as we mentioned earlier, but it also has a reduced damage of down to 26 where it used to be 28, and it no longer auto energizes when you're picking it up, which is kind of a given. But also, one of the neater things is that the energy decay is a lot slower now when not firing. And I actually did test this, and it does last for quite a while on just the one charge. So for me, it makes it much more worthwhile to actually pick up a thermite grenade whenever I'm using the Rampage. That's going to wrap it up for the weapon updates, but now it's time to move on to the real meat of the pie. That is the legend updates. First off, we have Seer, who got a pretty heavy nerf this season. His passive audio is now more audible to enemy players, and the activation of it is delayed to match the animation of whenever he raises his arms or he looks down sights. Also, the lock-on indicator is only shown with the cadence of the target's heartbeat. Also, his tactical no longer shows a full body scan, so pretty much now you're just going to see the diamond shape plus their health and their armor. Moving on to his ultimate, it no longer reveals enemy locations upon initiation, and the duration of it has been reduced from 30 seconds down to 25 seconds, as well as the cooldown being increased from 120 seconds to 180 seconds. So that means for all of you Seer mains, it's going to be pretty tough this season to get used to some of the adjustments. Moving on to Bloodhound, who actually got quite a few changes this season. She now has white ravens. Essentially they spawn around her occasionally when there's no enemies around. They can also be interacted with or scanned to trigger them to fly towards the nearest enemy player. The white raven will leave a misty trail for Bloodhound to follow, and will share this direction with their team on the map. Using a white raven is supposed to recover 25% of your tactical and ultimate charge, and scanning a white raven is supposed to fully refund the tactical charge. Unfortunately, in the firing range, I was having quite a hard time getting this to work. Her tactical got a small buff as well. It reduced the full body scan time from 3 seconds to 1 second, while leaving the diamond target unchanged. Her ultimate, on the other hand, did get quite a few changes. It no longer recharges or speeds up the cooldown for her tactical, so you won't be able to sit there and spam the tactical scan the whole time. What it will do is it'll launch a white raven that's supposed to fly towards the nearest enemy, and then killing an enemy while you're in the ultimate will trigger a white raven as well. Now, there's probably some interesting combination of how to extend your cooldown rates and whatnot, but I had a hard time kind of figuring that out in the firing range. Moving on to Mirage, who got some pretty nice buffs this season, if I do say so myself. Mirage and his ally now remain cloaked after a revive for 3 seconds. Weapons will remain stowed while you're cloaked, but drawing your weapon will remove the cloaking effect early, so that definitely changes the way that he's going to be reviving people. His bamboozles are now only triggered by bullet fire and melee. Enemies who are bamboozled will also receive notifications on their screen. Bamboozle icon markers will also now track the enemy's player in real time, so that's really useful for information. And the bamboozle marker duration has been increased from 2.5 seconds to 3.5 seconds. Next, we'll be moving on to Pathfinder, who got quite a few changes as well. His passive benefits are no longer gained by scanning survey beacons, so in order for him to get his passive benefits, he now has to reveal care packages using the Skirmisher ability. His ultimate's max range has been increased by 60%, the max speed increased by 66%, the acceleration and exit speed has been adjusted, and he can no longer place his zip line in the out of bounds zones. Moving on to Wraith, who's got some very minor adjustments. Her max portal distance has now been doubled from 76 meters to 152 meters, and the portal duration has been reduced from 60 seconds to 45 seconds. Also, she now has increased speed over time while she's creating a longer portal. Next up, we have Horizon, who actually got a little bit of a nerf this season. She has increased speed by 10% in her gravity lift, but she has increased weapon spread while in her gravity lift as well, so it kind of is a double-edged sword. And lastly, we have Lifeline. She now has a reduced slow penalty whenever initiating a revive, and her ultimate also has a decreased animation speed from 14 seconds to 8 seconds, and also has increased deployment range. And that's going to be it for the Legend updates. But there's still a couple other things we still need to touch on. First is the map rotation. So this season we got 3 maps, World's Edge, Stormpoint, and Broken Moon, which will all be rotated every 24 hours. So this is a huge change for the split, which will definitely lead to a lot more variety, and personally I'm looking a lot more forward to playing ranked this season. And finally, before we get into the gameplay, the last thing I wanted to talk about is the introduction of the new class system. Each character will now be separated into 5 different classes: Assault, Skirmisher, Recon, Support, and Controller. Assault will specialize in combat utility and initiation. They can also access supply bins and carry extra ammo. The Skirmisher will specialize in combat mobility and escape. They also have care package insight, meaning that they can scan the care packages and see what's going to be in them before they even drop. Recon specializes in enemy intel and tracking. They can also access survey beacons. Support specializes in team survival and supply. They can access extended supply bins, and they can also craft ally banners now. And finally, we have the Controller, who specializes in area setup and control, and can now also access ring consoles. So that's going to do it for a lot of the major changes for Season 16, but there are still a lot of bug fixes and quality of life changes as well, so if you guys wanted to take a look at those, feel free to go ahead and check out that link down below. And with all of that said, guys, let's go ahead and get into this TDM mode. Bitch. It's like, what are you doing, pal? I think the spawns are flipping. Down below.
Enemy very close. Tossing an up, sir.
He's still down there. Oh, he jumped up here. Fuck out of here, you assholes.
Taking a minute.
He's right here. Another one. Okay.
Good shit.
Thank you. They're just giving me free kills. They're coming over again. Right next to you.
Yeah, I know that.
Bruh.
Enemy very close.
He's coming up. Oh, he killed me! No! Damn. That was my first death. He's coming up to you. Oh, never mind.
Yeah. I killed both the guys that came up here earlier.
You are the Apex champions.
I only did 7 kills that time.
Alright guys, that's going to be it for the video today. Thank you so much for watching, and if you found this video helpful and you think I earned it, definitely hit that like and subscribe button for me. And please be sure to let me know down in the comments if there's anything that I missed about this season's updates. And with all that said guys, as always, I hope you're having a great day. Thanks again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take it easy.